point, I don't know.
Well, I would say that for Niner fans, and again, it's not the end of the world. I know it's only August 7th, and that's what people said about Bosa last year when he was holding out. It's only August 23rd. He'll come in ready to go. But these are bad omens, whether you believe in omens or not. I do, all right? I read into signs. I know a lot of people scoff at that. They think I'm being superstitious and weird. But, CMC hurt. Trent's holding out. Aiyuk feels like he's on his way out the door. The two young guys, it feels like they've been dinged up and already. And it's just a lot. And all I wanted to do was go back and just be ready to roll and have a quiet training camp with no drama because we finally know who our quarterback is. And we've got a new DC that everybody likes because he was hired from within. I thought it was going to be kumbaya. And here we are with 7 or 8 different stories on the 49ers. Brandon Aiyuk, Trent Williams, CMC, Ricky Pearsall hurt again. Who's replacing Dre Greenlaw? There's just a lot. It's just a lot.
When did you start your radio career?
I don't know, 2018.
So basically in the midst of the Warriors dynasty, right?
Yeah.
This was every day with the Warriors dynasty. After the first championship, from that point on, there were 7 to 8 storylines every single day.
Yeah, but you said the D word, right?
Dynasty. Yeah, they were winning. But they've been close to winning a Super Bowl. I mean,
no doubt,
they've been close. They've been on the doorstep. But there was
you gotta win one.
But there were storylines every day. It's with good teams. We just saw with the Last Stand stock. There's always going to be some drama. They had Michael Jordan, for crying out loud, the greatest player to ever live. Michael, in my opinion.
Yeah. But football's different than basketball. If you have the best players in the league,
there's drama.
You'll be there at the end. In football, we see it every single year.
The A's of the 70s.
Team that loses in the Super Bowl, they have a drop-off.
But the A's of the 70s were fighting each other left and right. They won 3 straight World Series.
I'll tell you, that was 50 years ago.
I don't care if it was 100 years ago. The point is there was drama with the team. It's always drama with teams. The 86 Mets were coked out of their minds fighting each other in the dugout. They ended up winning the World Series. All right? It happens in pro sports. Drama's always going to happen. This is are we new to this? We think it's just going to be hey, it's going to be Friday Night Lights or something. We're all going to hold hands and be together.
No,
even they had drama.
You don't think this was somewhat avoidable on both parties, on Aiyuk and the Niners? Had they just found a way to, come to an agreement either earlier in the timeline, or if they knew that they were never going to be able to come up to his asking price, and maybe that asking price was a moving target, I don't know. But there were multiple points where this could have been different. And it feels like now that we're here, it's causing a lot of tension for the fan base.
Well, Aiyuk said it, man. He thought they were at the goal line a couple times. I don't know what happened. But here we are now. Now, back at the NFC Championship game, Shanahan brought up Brandon Aiyuk for the people because I do want to ask you a question, because now that McCaffrey said this yesterday.
That's not part of my job. It's not part of my position. I think, obviously, as a former teammate or, teammate of his in general, any teammate that you have, you love, you respect them, you want the best for them.
So McCaffrey, former teammate, wants the best for him. So let's just move forward like we did yesterday without Brandon Aiyuk, because it sounds like he's on the way out. Mike Tomlin's being giddy. He's saying that, hey, man, it's still early on the West Side, so the phone hasn't rung yet. It's still early on the West Side. Well, 7:45 now. Let's see if the phone is ringing in Pittsburgh from John Lynch and Parag Marate. So if we do move on without Brandon Aiyuk, how good is this team? Can they still replicate some of the success they had over the last 7 to 8 years, especially over the last 5? Well, Shanahan on Aiyuk about unlocking the NFC Championship game. Spinoni just put this on the board. I'm going to play it.
We thought if we could get it going and make it a game on both sides, it would be a matter of time before we could score some points. But the way their offense was going, their defense doing a couple things to get us off the field. But once BA made that play, it kind of unlocked it with such an explosive and kind of unlocked the whole team, because right after getting that turnover that I believe Gipp forced, that was huge. And right after that, you could feel the whole momentum with our players on our sideline in the stadium kind of flip, and you felt it was on after that.
So that was Shanahan on the Aiyuk catch, and look, it did unlock the offense. They went crazy.
We didn't get a chance to talk about it because Gibson's not in the league anymore. He had this crazy resurgence out of nowhere, and then all of a sudden gets popped for roids.
Yeah. Well,
Nobody but in the NFL, no one cares.
Nobody cares. I mean, you could just look in the locker room and look at some of the supplements.
But everybody asked all that shit, like, wow, Gibson was on the street and he was having a monster year. And then out of nowhere, it's like,
steroids.
Gibson, period, suspended for the first 8 games of the year. Or whatever, 6 games.
You see some of the veins that are popping out of these dudes' necks and arms or whatnot. You don't think they're doing a little something to recover? See, NFL. All the physical, the violence every single Sunday, Thursday, Saturday, Monday.
Do they really?
I mean, come on. I guess that's another question. Does anybody care if these players take steroids?
No one does. Unless it's for the home run, record books. And your name is Bob Costas.
Oh, man. 888-957-9570 is the number. I get everybody's exhausted with Brandon Aiyuk in this situation, but it sounds like, and here's the latest. Let's just do a little reset on everything that's happening. Matt Maiocco last night. As Matt Maiocco, he's been tapped in. He's one of our, you can count on Matt Maiocco. He's a credible source.
Very reliable.
Yep. NBC Sports Bay Area. Covering the Niners a long time. Adam Schefter, 12 hours ago, said sources, after inquiring about Brandon Aiyuk's availability, the Patriots have decided to explore any further trade possibilities with the Niners regarding their standout wide receiver. Patriots are excited about their young receivers and want to focus on them. Well, that's because Brandon Aiyuk basically said, according to Matt Maiocco, they had an agreement in place with the Niners and a large offer to Aiyuk on the table, but he did not show interest in going there. That's from Matt Maiocco. Then later on, 8 hours ago, Matt Maiocco, NBC Sports Bay Area, the fact that the Steelers are back in talks with the Niners towards a possible Brandon Aiyuk trade shows all sides have a willingness to get something done. The negotiations and conversations continue.
I think the thing that's hard to swallow for a lot of Niner fans is that I was prepared for the quote-unquote teardown of the roster when the Purdy deal starts to kick in and you start actually having to have the Bosa deal hit your books and things like that. And we all understood that. I was thinking in my head, how important is CeeDee Lamb because Dak makes so much money? Right, he's their lone weapon, and it makes him even more important in that offense. They don't really have a running game, the tight end, to a lesser degree, but they've surrendered all of these other players and all these other financial positions so that they could pay the quarterback. And I was prepared for that next year, or maybe the year after that, but not now. You know what I mean? Well, and it's just hard that it's hitting us in the face now.
Kawakami yesterday. Do the Niners have the money to pay Brandon Aiyuk?
They do have the money. Now, I understand, they got the Purdy money coming down the back end, but it's not salary cap money. That's just guaranteed money. This is guaranteed money that Jed York probably does not want to pay. You know what? Okay, that's his decision. I get it. But then you're judged by the roster you end up with. If they end up without Brandon Aiyuk, it's been a miscalculation. They've just miscalculated and misplayed this to get it in this position. This is not what good teams do. Look at the Detroit Lions. They've re-signed everybody.
Yep.
They've figured out a way. That's a team that the 49ers are likely going to run into in the NFC Championship game.
So there's a key point there, a key thing that he said, Tim Kawakami. And I'll play it one more time for everybody out there, and then I'll let you guys know what the key point is. We can pick this up on the other side. But Kawakami, again, they have the money to pay Aiyuk now. Now, how?
They do have the money. Now, I understand, they got the Purdy money coming down the back end, but it's not salary cap money. That's just guaranteed money. This is guaranteed money that Jed York probably does not want to pay. You know what? Okay, that's his decision. I get it. But then you're judged by the roster you end up with. If they end up without Brandon Aiyuk, it's been a miscalculation. They've just miscalculated and misplayed this to get it in this position. This is not what good teams do. Look at the Detroit Lions. They've re-signed everybody.
Yep.
They've figured out a way. That's a team that the 49ers are likely going to run into in the NFC Championship game.
I would use the Eagles as a good example. They get out ahead of it, and they re-sign their guys. They re-sign their linemen. They re-sign their wide receivers, and they make trades. They make shrewd trades. They got ahead of it with Jalen. They gave Jalen Hurts his money. But the Lions is one situation. They got a lot of guys they haven't paid yet, but they did re-up on Goff and Decker and, of course, Amon-Ra St. Brown, Penei Sewell as well. But he said that Jed York does have the money. He just doesn't want to pay. Now, I could go take it two sides. I could understand it from both sides. One, the fan in me says, man, Jed York, won't you pony up? But then also I look at what Jed York has done over the last 7 years and said, you know what? He has ponied up. He ponied up with Bosa, Warner, Greenlaw. Who else? Trent, Juszczyk, McCaffrey, Kittle.
They're paying the
Debo.
highest or close at the time. They've set 6 or 7 different positions.
Right.
When they signed, upon signing was the highest contract at that position.
So I can't get on Jed
on the
York.
current roster.
I can't call Jed York broke or get on him because he has ponied up.
Yeah.
He just hasn't ponied up in his situation because it feels like the Bosa deal, they really don't like the way that went down.
Well,
and so they told themselves, if it happens again, we're not going to go that route. That's unfortunate.
I don't know. Because there's also the equation of, and I get where TK's coming out with, like, you can pay him now, but those do have ramifications in the future, right? Like, yes, you could pay the guy now, but I don't know what their thought process is. It like, yes, we could pay Aiyuk and we can keep Debo, Aiyuk, and Kittle together for 2 seasons, but not 3, not 4, or we have to get rid of one or both, or like I just don't know. But I'll look at this one, like, if we're gonna count all this money and look at this and look at paying Armstead the dead money this year from the contract of way back when, and paying Javon Hargrave the free agent money. To me, like, those are the 2 big missteps, which I think is the hardest pill to swallow. It's not the Aiyuk deal. I think it's those ones. Like, you're paying $40 million essentially this year of cash for 2 guys, and one's on the roster and he's and the other guy is playing in Jacksonville.
Yeah.
That sucks.
Yeah, that does
in
suck.
a passing league where they weren't really, like, quote unquote pass rushing types. Like, that sucks.
Let's go to Doug in Berkeley real quick. Doug in Berkeley before we hit the injury report. What's up, Doug?
Hey, thanks. Good morning, guys. Good morning.
Good morning.
You stole my thunder. You just stole my thunder. Everything that Shasky just said is pertinent, and they paid Bosa too much. They paid Bosa too much. Even if he had a breakout all-star season, you could say they paid him too much. They don't want to get burned again. And quite frankly, the purse, it can't take it. I don't care what Kawakami said, that they have the money. If you get burned once, you don't want to spend the money, even if you have it. I'm not sure they have it. So you guys hit the nail right on the head just recently. That's where I'm coming from. Thanks for taking the call.
Well,
Anytime,
and here's where
Doug.
I'm frustrated. Had they made that assessment earlier in the offseason, then they would have been able to do something to help them out for this year.
No
and
doubt.
that's the part where I think everyone gets frustrated. All right, if that's the case, if we buy it at face value that you got burned and you don't want to get burned again, blah, blah, blah. Okay, well, then why didn't you make that assessment in April? And, okay, yeah, you're getting pennies on the dollar on Aiyuk, but you didn't want him anyway. But at least I could draft something or utilize some player earlier in the equation. In August, whatever draft pick you get is not helping you for week 1 against the Jets.
Well, it's funny, too. Pretty Ricky, our boy Pretty Ricky, is out there trying to flex.
Who is Pretty Ricky?
I don't know who Pretty Ricky is. He's a Twitter account.
No one
Great
knows.
trades.
He's turned into like a meme almost at this point.
But he is like flexing because I told y'all Pittsburgh. Oh, and now he's tweeting it's our girl Steph, 49er Steph. Pretty Ricky. The Niners would not be getting the first round pick back in this trade. Steph sheds his with Jesus Christ. I don't know if it's true or not. But
I'm out.
If the Niners don't get a player? Is there any draft what is going to please Niner fans?
Nothing.
Is it just Amari Cooper?
Super Bowl.
Is it Amari Cooper a bust if you trade for him?
It's the only thing that's
It's the only thing that's going to help.
Bonte, you've been knocking on the promised land. Like, this is like very equivalent to Moses. You wander around in the desert and then you get all the way to the promised land.
So
you
now
don't get to go in.
Now we're Super Bowl or bust?
You're not even allowed to go in. You just keep knocking on the door. Like, hey, I brought everyone here. Am I allowed in? No, you're not allowed in.
Are we Super Bowl or
I'm
bust
going
now?
religious here on you. But yes, B,
Are we
the
Super
only
Bowl
thing
or
that's going to
bust?
satisfy this fan base is a Super Bowl win.
Oh.
Yeah, unfortunately, yeah.
Oh, okay.
That's where we're at. Yeah, we're psychologically despondent. Am I wrong?
Welcome to my world, buddy. It's not Super Bowl try again. It's not, hey, we had a lot of success. Not everybody can win a Super Bowl. It's really hard to win a Super Bowl.
Mahomes is at the Playboy Mansion back in the 90s. He's hanging out in the jacuzzi. What do they call that? Like the
Super Bowl bust. I was told.
And the Niners are stuck at the door.
No, because I was told that, hey, man, not only one team's won the Super Bowl. It's really, really hard.
Yeah, it is really hard.
Really hard.
It really, really is hard. And it's even harder when you don't have Brandon Aiyuk and you don't get compensation that can help you for this current season.
Oh, man. Let's get to the injury report.
God.